Well, here we are, season 6 of Cobra Kai, part 1 of 97, because Netflix wants subscribers. Netflix, what are you doing? Let's talk about it. All right, welcome guys. Welcome to Movie Emporium's TV spoiler-free discussion of the Netflix series Cobra Kai. This will follow, of course, season 6, part 1 of the series. So let's talk about that. Cobra Kai, of course, is the continuation of the popular series that went from YouTube Red to, of course, Netflix. It now sees, these individuals now are technically all friends outside of John Kreese, of course, who escaped from prison, and Terry Silver went to prison. This is a season where they're training for this Olympic style tournament, this very worldwide karate tournament. And in the process, they have to work together, as these series do. But they've kind of reconciled their differences. Tori and Samantha, who've constantly gone back and forth. Robbie and Miguel, who've constantly gone back and forth. They're all just kind of on the same side. Hawk and all these people, they're on the same side. They're one goal mission under Miyagi-Do or whatever. And it's the first 5 episodes. It's basically the starting point, the ignition point, the pawn on the chessboard point of getting us into that eventual karate championship. And of course, you have John Kreese's character, who is on the side having his own thing. There's some back history with him and kind of how he became what he did, as we've learned already many, many times. And essentially, it's a continuation of what happened after the last season, how these characters had to work together, and kind of the nature of how do you wrap up a series like Cobra Kai and stuff like that. That's why there's a world championship instead of the, the All Valley championship, which has been in every other season. So there you go. Season 6, part 1. I appreciate one. I do appreciate Netflix sending this to me. I always appreciate when these studios send screener copies because, they don't have to do that. I do appreciate it, but I do have to be realistic here. 3 parts to the season finale or series finale of the series is a little much, to be fairly honest. It didn't need that. It didn't need to happen. You could do it in 2 parts and that'd been just fine, but they want to stretch it out. They want to keep those Netflix subscribers. But for the most part, this series has waned in the simple fact that I think it's gotten a little CW-ish on its kind of trajectory. I think it's fun. I think it's entertaining, the 5 seasons I saw. But there was a harder edge in the first 2 seasons that were on YouTube Red that Netflix has kind of toned down, to be fairly honest. It becomes really high school drama-ish, and it becomes back and forth between Gianni and Danny LaRusso and stuff like that. But there was that hard edge to the series that kind of was I would say kind of toned down. I already said that, but kind of watered down a little bit. So season 6, I was expecting to kind of follow the same trajectory. So I wasn't expecting it to be high art. I don't expect it to be an Emmy Award winning show. I kind of want to be entertained, but I do want progression in the series. And I think what the series is attempting to do is do that when it comes to a new kind of championship. I mean, I don't care about the fact that they're doing karate championships. That's fine. That's what the series is. But I want progression out of these characters. I don't want to have it be stagnant. And so for my thoughts on the, non-spoiler thoughts on this season, at least part 1, the first 5 episodes, for the most part, there is that trajectory. There's a trajectory of these characters are finally reconciling with one another. They're trying to work together towards one goal. But it's so campy at this point. It's so childish. It's so CW-ish that it was almost laughable for the first 4 episodes of the series. I think the most interesting part is not even the kids or Daniel and Johnny and Chosen. It's the John Kreese stuff, which actually the stuff that they do with his character, though it can be kind of campy and kind of, you've seen it in movies before, is interesting because John Kreese's character was always this big baddie guy who was kind of one note in the first and third movie, but they really fleshed his character out like Terry Silver and made some really interesting choices. And that's what they do here. I like the fact that we get more back history and we get more push forward of his character. And I really appreciate what they've done with Martin Kove. They've really expanded his character. It doesn't mean his character is the greatest villain ever. That's never the point of this show. I just think his character is a lot of fun to watch. And he brings in some past characters that help him get even to Miyagi-Do and stuff like that. And then there's stuff with Miyagi and there's stuff with Daniel LaRusso, which I thought was interesting, kind of a twist and turn on who Miyagi was. There's more to his story than we even realize. Do I think it's a little ham-fisted and kind of played in for drama? Yes, but I don't think it's terrible, to be fairly honest. And then you have William Zabka, Johnny Lawrence's character, who I think with his relationship with not only Miguel and of course Robbie, who later on in the last 2 episodes of the first part has some really interesting dynamics on how it has to progress. But I've always appreciated, I think William Zabka was always the heart of the show, which is called Cobra Kai, but I think he's always fun. I do think it's a little kind of stale at this point, but I think his character finds ways to work with Daniel. There is progression. He wants to have a job. He wants to provide for his family because he's going to have a kid. There is a lot there that they do work with. I think the problem that ends up becoming with this show and becomes with this season is it's only first 5 episodes of the series. The stuff that we really look forward to, I mean, it leads into the last part of the show, and I just, that's what my biggest problem is. Why didn't they just do 2 parts, have like 8 episodes here and 8 episodes there? But no, they have to stretch it out. So it leads into some, like, you know, leading up to what is going to be the main crux of the series. So therefore, the first 4 episodes just kind of spin their wheels. They're not really that interesting. They're just a lot of back and forth training. I think the kids are really stale at this point. There's not much to them. Yes, you know, Tori has stuff that she comes into her story that's really interesting and kind of dramatic, but the back and forth, it just feels like, oh, now we're part of Beverly Hills 90210, all this and that, and I didn't really find it interesting. I think, you know, the family dynamic between Daniel LaRusso and his family is kind of boring at this point. It doesn't really lead to much, and I can see why they're kind of ending the show here, but it's just like not well put together. It feels very, very like it's the CW-ish, the Dawson's Creeks, and, you know, like I said, Beverly Hills 90210 and all those shows. And that's not this. I'm not saying I wasn't entertained. It leads to be wanting. It's like it leads to it being like a 7 out of 10 season part, I guess you could say. And that could change once I see the other 2 parts. I think this could be just kind of a blip in the next like 10 episodes or whatever. So I'm not going to be too hard on it for that simple fact. I just, at some point, I'm glad it's ending, to be fairly honest. That's just kind of where I lean it. And, you know, it brings back characters like it, you know, that you saw or seen. Chosen, I think, is becoming like a comedic point at this point. He's not really like taken seriously throughout this entire first part, and he kind of disappears in the last couple episodes, which is kind of weird. But overall, just this is not a very long review. Overall, it is Cobra Kai. It does what Cobra Kai does. It has its faults. It has its positives. Once again, I think the last 2 episodes are the most interesting of this part, that lead into some dynamics and some drama, and I think some of the fighting that happens in the last 2 parts is really interesting. The way I do think some characters make some choices that have been done a billion times before, but I think it leads into some drama that could potentially make the series pretty interesting at the end. And overall, I think it's still Cobra Kai. I think it's still fun entertainment. You know, it's not high art or anything like that. And it's fun watching Daniel and, you know, Johnny back and forth. It's fun watching that happen, and, you know, the fact that they're kind of working together now. They, like I said, they bring characters that are legacy characters back into it that have been in other seasons. And overall, I think in the end, I think Cobra Kai season 6 part 1 is a 7 out of 10. Like I said, it's still fun. It has some major problems, and it's not the greatest in the world. And, you know, if you're a Cobra Kai fan at this point, you'll watch it. You won't even really care about that. You'll enjoy it. But if you haven't been watching Cobra Kai, or if you're going into the 6th season going, this is terrible, well, you haven't been watching for the last 4 seasons or whatever it's been since it's been on YouTube. I mean, I'm sorry, on Netflix. So take that for what it's worth. That's kind of where I lean. So a 7 out of 10 is where I'm going to take this first part. For the time being, it could go up, it could go down. It just depends on how they conclude the season. But overall, if you like Cobra Kai, definitely watch it. So anyways, with that said, that is going to be my take on Cobra Kai season 6 part 1 of 90, 100,000, 65, and 27. No, I'm kidding. It's part 1 of 3. So anyways, Netflix, stop doing this. Stop doing 2 parts is fine. They only need 3 parts, but I know what you're doing. So anyways, thank you so much for watching. As always, comments below. What is your favorite moment of Cobra Kai so far? What did you think now that the series has been released the same day as this review? What do you think of part 1 of season 6? Let me know in the comments below. But otherwise, if you like what you see on this channel, awesome. Hit the subscribe button to join Movie Emporium. Hit that notification bell, top the fun is coming next. If you like this video, awesome. Hit that like button. And as always, we'll see you guys on the next video. Peace out, guys.